The trade winds around Toronto are no longer a gentle breeze. They are starting to howl. As winter tightens its grip and spring training edges closer, the Toronto Blue Jays find themselves in a familiar yet fascinating position, standing at the crossroads between patience and aggression. This has already been an impressive off-season, even with the sting of missing out on Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette still lingering in the background like an unfinished sentence. Yet somehow, instead of deflating momentum, it has sharpened it. Because now, the rumors are louder, the conversations are more daring, and the possibilities feel very real. There is something about this moment that feels different. Tickets for opening day are already on sale, the calendar is inching towards February, and baseball is no longer an abstract idea. It is coming. And Ross Atkins, a man who rarely sits still when opportunity presents itself, is once again being linked to the trade market. Insiders are beginning to echo the same refrain, that if the Blue Jays are going to meaningfully upgrade from here, it will be through a trade. That alone should make every fan lean forward in their chair. Welcome back to the Blue Jays Report, and before we dive into the smoke and mirrors of rumor season, take a second to like the video, share it with another Jays fan, and subscribe to the channel. Your support continues to be phenomenal, and as we get closer to spring training, this community is only going to get louder. Now let's talk about the trade that has quietly split the fanbase straight down the middle. A recent article dropped that immediately caught attention, proposing a Blue Jays trade that would ship out a 44-home run slugger and bring back a high-leverage bullpen upgrade in Jeff Hoffman's mold. The framework centers around the St. Louis Cardinals, a team that has made it abundantly clear they are willing to sell. This is not speculation anymore. The Cardinals are listening. Everyone is available. And when that happens, Toronto inevitably comes calling. The proposed deal suggests the Blue Jays would acquire left-handed reliever Jojo Romero and outfielder Lars Nootbaar, sending Anthony Santander, Nathan Lucas, Bowden Francis, and top pitching prospect Johnny King the other way. On paper, it is a bold swing. In practice, it is also deeply divisive. Some fans see upside and balance. Others see far too much leaving Toronto for what feels like an uncertain return. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Trading Anthony Santander right now would mean selling him at his lowest value. Injuries derailed his season, his numbers dipped, and the shine dulled. But buried beneath that is a hitter with genuine power upside, someone very capable of bouncing back with a 30-home run campaign. Moving him now would feel like closing the book halfway through the chapter. That alone makes this specific construction unlikely. Nathan Lucas, meanwhile, is a useful piece, but he is also expendable in the right context. He is currently projected to start fewer than 30 games in left field, rotating through the outfield mix rather than anchoring it. Bowden Francis carries little trade value at this point, and Johnny King, while talented, is one of many arms in a system that is suddenly flush with pitching prospects. That is where the logic of the deal begins to take shape, even if the execution feels off. The real centerpiece here is not Lars Nootbaar. It is Jojo Romero. Quietly, efficiently, Romero has become one of the more reliable left-handed relievers in baseball. Last season, he posted a sparkling 2.07 ERA, operating in high-leverage situations and thriving under pressure. He is not a flamethrower chasing triple digits, but he does not need to be. He knows how to get outs, and more importantly, he knows how to get them when they matter most. Over the past 2 seasons, Romero has racked up 54 holds and 9 saves, including 8 saves in 2025 alone. This is a pitcher trusted with late innings, trusted when games hang by a thread. For a Blue Jays bullpen that still feels one arm short of truly elite, that kind of reliability is priceless. Add him to a mix that already includes Jeff Hoffman, Jimmy Garcia, Tyler Rogers, and Yimi Garcia, and suddenly the late innings stop feeling like a gamble. This is why the idea refuses to go away. Even if this exact trade never materializes, it paints a clear picture of the type of move Toronto is exploring. The Blue Jays want a high-leverage bullpen arm. Preferably a left-hander. Preferably someone with a track record. And if they can also bring back a controllable bat in the same deal, all the better. Lars Nootbaar complicates things. He had a down year, no question about it. Injuries, inconsistency, and a lack of rhythm all played a role. But the underlying skill set is still there. Plate discipline, solid defense, and the potential to be an everyday left fielder if things click. The issue is not whether Nootbaar can bounce back. It is whether he is worth the cost of Santander plus Lucas plus a top prospect. That is where many fans draw the line. If you ask me, the framework makes more sense if Santander is removed entirely. Build a deal around Nathan Lucas, Johnny King, and additional prospect capital. Make Romero the headliner. Treat the bat as a secondary piece rather than the prize. That feels far more in line with how Ross Atkins operates, calculated, patient, and rarely reactionary. Because make no mistake, the Blue Jays are not desperate. They are competitive in a brutally tight division. Projected WAR has them right in the thick of things, with the Yankees, Red Sox, and Orioles all clustered near the top. The margin for error in the AL East is razor thin. Every win matters. Every late-inning collapse is magnified. One elite bullpen arm can swing an entire season. This is why the bullpen remains the clearest area for improvement. The rotation is set. The lineup, while imperfect, has depth and upside. But October baseball is won in the margins, and those margins live in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. Jojo Romero fits that vision almost too neatly. At the same time, there is an argument to be made that the Jays still need one more bat. If Santander is moved, someone has to replace that power potential. Betting entirely on a Nootbaar bounce back is risky. There is a very real scenario where Santander outproduces him by a wide margin in 2026. That risk is not insignificant, and it is why this trade has fans arguing in circles. Beyond this rumor, the league continues to move. Whit Merrifield recently revealed on his podcast that Kyle Tucker genuinely wanted to play in Toronto, but the money in Los Angeles was simply impossible to ignore. 10 years and $350 million is a phenomenal offer in most universes. In this one, it still was not enough. Hearing that stings, but it also reinforces that the Blue Jays were serious. They were in the room. They just refused to mortgage the future beyond reason. Elsewhere, former Blue Jay Sir Anthony Dominguez has signed a 2-year, $20 million deal with the Chicago White Sox. That is a contract many fans would have welcomed in Toronto. Reports suggested he was seeking a 1-year deal, but the market shifted. Would that have been too much for the Jays? Or is that exactly the type of money you pay for bullpen certainty? It is another reminder that options are shrinking as spring approaches. And yet, the door is not closed. Trades can happen in an instant. One phone call, one concession, one prospect added to the mix, and everything changes. That is what makes this time of year intoxicating. Hope and anxiety exist side by side. So now I ask you, would you pull the trigger on a deal centered around Jojo Romero? Would you sacrifice prospect depth and a rotation piece to lock down the late innings? Or would you hold firm, trust the internal options, and wait for the market to blink? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report. Spring training is nearly here, and whether through trade or patience, the next chapter of this Blue Jays story is about to be written.